Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live virtual Q&A for Transformistas. My name is Victor Jimenez. I'm your executive director for the Outshine LGBTQ plus Film Festival. This is our 22nd annual and our first virtual edition. We are presented by Miami-Dade County and Gilead. Here at the festival, we believe we grow stronger together, and we like partnering our films with community partners. We have two community partners for this screening. The first is Gay Ocho Festival. Gay Ocho Festival was founded 4 or 5 years ago, and it has expanded every year, and they're one of our great community partners, and we thank you very much for your support. Our next community partner, we've been working with them for many years. It is Unity Coalition, Coalición Unidad, and we have a quick little spot from them, so you get to know more about them.
I'm strong. I'm black.
I am proud.
I'm gender fluid.
I am an activist.
I matter.
I'm your friend.
I am fierce.
I'm fearless.
I'm creative.
And I'm fabulous.
I am queer.
I'm your neighbor.
I'm a non-binary person.
I'm a voter.
I am a leader.
I'm a fashionista.
I am gay.
I will not be erased.
I am gay.
I will not be erased.
I am Unity Coalition.
Visit us at unitycoalition.org.
And again, thank you, community partners. Well, now it's time for the virtual Q&A. Let's bring in the director, Chad Hahne. Chad, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for making such a great documentary. I'm sure, especially Miami, people, there's always an interest with anything Cuba, obviously down here, everything always does well. And it's also just good to see a documentary so recent and so very specific to our audience. Kind of getting into it, I want to actually, well, let's go with my basic always first question. Tell me the story of like where the idea came from, what it took to get it done, and how long was the whole process?
So the idea came from, it was probably 2015, and I was working in television, and I wanted to do something a little bit more fulfilling. And I love documentaries, and I have a little background in documentaries. I worked on How to Survive a Plague, so I wanted to make something in the queer world. And my mother had snuck us, the family, into Cuba in 1999. We went up to Canada and illegally went into Cuba and paid the customs agents in Cuba like $20 not to stamp our passports. And I had an amazing experience in Cuba. And it was actually, I was like 18 or so, and it was the first time I had kissed a man happened on that trip. So Cuba really resonated with me, and it was an amazing experience. So fast forward to 2015, and I wanted to make a film of my own, and restrictions were sort of lifted with traveling to Cuba. And so I just went down and I explored the country. I went down with an idea that I wanted to make a film about the queer community in Cuba, and that was it. And so I traveled around the country and ended up in Santa Clara, where I found out about El Hahne, and then I met some queer locals in Santa Clara. And I really wasn't sure what I was going to do or what story was going to happen, but I became friends with these really amazing locals. And after I got back to America, we kept in touch and we kept talking, and I told them I wanted to make a film. And they were really encouraging me to pursue it, and sort of were telling me about these drag queens and transformistas that they knew and their stories of the local queens. And things just kind of came together after that. I was really blown away by some of the stories my local friends, my Cuban friends were telling me. And so I came back, and, with one particular local, Omar Martin, we we started to film this in 2016. And we filmed it over the course of a couple years, which was difficult. Filming in Cuba was hard. I did it very low key. It was just me and my cell phone and Omar, my producer in Cuba. And I don't speak Spanish, so he was also my translator, and he was wonderful. But the process then took a couple years, and it was very rewarding. I felt a strong obligation to these amazing people to sort of, once I started this project, to finish it and get their stories out, which is, why it took a while. And I ended up going back a few times to make sure that the story was right and make sure that they all approved of the story and enjoyed the story. I think, it's been a long, rewarding journey, but I'm happy that it's, finally getting out into the film festival world and people are seeing it.
No, and that's great. And what I liked about it is I like docs a lot because I always learn a bit of history that I didn't know before, or about people that, their story deserves to be told. One of the main subjects is Samantha. And I just want to start with the end of the movie. I thought the ending was just really powerful. That she came back, did her performance. It was a powerful performance, and especially to me, it was like really amazing just having the taking off the wig and being stripped down, basically naked, and then you mirrored that with the previous performance from probably one of the times she did it when she performed regularly. Yeah. But then I thought it was poignant at the end. Also, you intercut it with like in an interview with him at his home with his in the mother's house, or where like he was like saying like there was like a little bit of my impression was like bitterness because like no one come like in effect who comes here to visit me, like I thought there's something bitter sweet or melancholy about it. Like I guess what I'm saying is with that strong a performance, like why do you think he felt that he kind of from my impression just felt like he was still just like alone and had no friends, I guess, for lack of a better term?
So that the poem, he was actually reading a poem that he used to perform when he was in the sanitarium, and it was a performance piece, a poem that he would perform about his experience in the sanitarium, and he would do outreach through the sanitarium and through Hahne for HIV/AIDS awareness in like the late 80s and early 90s. So this was something that he wrote and he would perform, and they would go to sort of villages and local areas to do HIV outreach. So he was really proud of it because it's such a beautiful, amazing piece of artwork. And it was such an important part of his history. And he used to also do that poem at performances at Hahne later on. So I thought it was a really good way to sort of wrap up his story and come full circle about the persecution he went through and how he was able to sort of triumph over that and turn that into inspirational art.
Yeah, it was a very powerful scene. I definitely enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So you mentioned when you were filming in Cuba, you were basically doing on the iPhone.
Yeah.
How was that? Were you ever worried about losing the phone?
So at first, yeah. So I think I went down four times or so. In the first 2 or 3 times, I just had one phone. And I would have these external hard drives that I would give to my producer, and he would take the footage home every night and give it to someone else. So basically we would have a backup of our footage to make sure that if something did happen, if the police did, come look for me or come look for the footage, that we would at least have a backup. So it was, I felt like we needed to do something very low key. And I also wanted it to be very run and gun. I didn't want a lot of setup. I didn't want a lot of lights. I didn't want it to be too overproduced because I felt that I really wanted to keep the authenticity of Cuba and sort of that beautiful, raw feeling of Cuba without it having glossed over with like an incredible camera and incredible lighting. Like I thought the rawness was really important to sort of the community feel of this story of what I captured.
And you definitely got that impression. My background's Cuban American. You've actually been to Cuba more than I have. I've never been there. My family didn't really want to go back after they left. And I'm always used to the images of like Havana, but not really other parts. And one of the things that really affected me was actually the rawness that you saw, like the conditions in which pretty much everyone there is living in. And one of the, not only an emotional scene in the movie, but just like wow, look at the conditions people are living in. Is when you went to visit Omega's grandmother and aunt, you know, she obviously had a breakdown, but just the basic living conditions of like where she lived, where Omega lived, you know, previously. And I'm like, you know, I am amazed that in those circumstances, the people are still finding some ways to lift themselves up. But then you also, you know, she had dealing with this tragedy. Like, how did it affect you just like being in Cuba and just seeing how the people were living?
Yeah, it was. So it was. It's hard. It's you know, it's hard to experience that that level, you know, of poverty. It's weird when I say poverty because they also have, you know, they have healthcare. They have these certain things that most third world countries don't have. So there's that level of like, okay, it's nice that these people are on a certain level being taken care of. But also once you get to know these queens and this community, there was so much love and people took care of each other on such a level that while they had sort of economic poverty, their lives were also so rich and rewarding that I loved, you know. It's also kind of, you know, it's special. It's both. It's very sad, but also it's such an amazing community as well.
Yeah, you made a good point. Like I never felt that it was like actually like a poverty. It was more just lack of things, you know. You know, like, you know, people that have their smartphones and like you said that there is health there. It's more like they don't have it because there's nothing there to have. You know, like it's not like they can't afford it. You know, like there's not a choice to have it. But
so in terms of technology, it was kind of amazing to go back in time, really, because you know, there's very little internet, especially when I was filming. You'd have to go to a town square. There was only like 2 places in Santa Clara, maybe 3, where you could actually access internet. So to take that level of technology out of your life was really refreshing. And you were just really forced to obviously connect with people and talk to people if you wanted to, you know, if you wanted some form of it, of entertainment, it was coming from another human being, which was really spectacular. It was really nice.
well, I mean, the good thing with Cubans and entertainment is that, you know, as a people, we're very loud and we talk a lot with our hands. So you're going to get plenty of it. One of the things that touched me, and you kind of touched on it, that like as a community, the queens there just like are really, I guess, protective of each other and they take care of each other. And I like that came across with I'm apologizing. I'm forgetting the person who was stabbed and, you know, was in the hospital for a year, and then she
yeah.
What?
Cynthia.
You know, like obviously the first time you see her, you see this huge scar. And I'm like, oh, I wonder where did that come from? And then you get the story. But it really, you know, affected me in a very positive way that she was so taken care of for that year. And there was always somebody there, because I honestly, my gut tells me if that happened in the United States, you know, she would have been alone after probably a week, you know, and people kind of go on with their lives. You know, that was a very touching moment, and also obviously very sad for what happened, you know, where she did, you know, pass away, you know, not from the wounds, but from HIV. You definitely did an excellent job conveying that sense of community that the people have there.
Thank you. Yeah, I think Hahne is such a cultural anchor for the queer community, for kind of just outcasts really in central Cuba, that there really is a sense of family there, and community. And I love the location. I love the people I was able to film with and people I was able to hang out with in Silverio. It was really warm and welcoming and an amazing place.
This is more like a curiosity question. The footage of Castro's daughter, was that with your iPhone, or that's just like B-roll?
So Mariela, I think, is in two places. One I filmed, which was the anti-homophobia parade in Havana, and she was like the parade master, the headmaster of that parade, with actually Candace Kane was next to her. So that footage I filmed, and then there was some footage of her with Silverio and Zulema, and that was given to me by Hahne.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious about that. The kind of going back to Omega's grandmother, were you taken off guard by her reaction? Like, I mean, like she really broke down Like that, I mean, that was just raw. Was it like difficult for you to just to film that? Like how did?
Yeah,
how did that go down?
it was. Yeah, it was really difficult. In part, I didn't understand how close they were. I didn't understand the dynamic. I didn't really know she you know, I didn't know that Omega spent most of her time with her grandmother. I didn't really understand the dynamic. So it was, yeah, it was incredibly hard and sad. But I also took from it just how much acceptance there was from the grandmother. You know, accepting her role in the queer community, and her sort of, you know, idea of wanting to transition. Like, sure, her grandmother, even though she would mix up the pronouns and things like that, was very, you know, it was such a warm, wonderful person that it was both incredibly sad, but it also was in a way I was like, oh, she was so loved while she was, you know, here with us.
Yeah, that again, you kind of said it. Like I was like you. I was surprised by how, you know, accepting of Omega the grandmother was. I mean, I was, you know, it's like I didn't know how that whole interview was going to go, but then she had a picture of her and the whole winning. I was actually like, wow, I would have, you know, that makes me feel great. I mean, I feel bad for her, but like that she loved her so much and totally accepted her. That was like an amazing like little gift that I got from the film. Yeah. Let me ask a question. I know we're kind of like in a weird, surreal COVID-19 time here. Are there, like, when things kind of open up, are there like plans? I mean, obviously you want your film to go during like the festival circuit. Is your one of your main goals eventually to, like, you know, maybe like screen it again in Miami in an actual physical theater to see what the actual like people here in the audience would feel like to experience it, maybe like in Tower Theater in Calle Ocho or something like that?
I would love to experience it with a group of people. Unfortunately, like, we're just not sure what's going to happen. So we're just trying to take it, you know, 1 week, 1 month at a time. And, you know, we have some exciting international film festivals that it'll be playing at that I can't disclose yet. But hopefully we'll do a nice, you know, online film festival circuit for the next coming months. And then hopefully, you know, next spring we'll be able to do more in person. We'll see. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I definitely would, like, if once we get to like a sense of normalcy, I wouldn't mind actually helping you to like find a way. There's like a Cuban history museum in downtown that, you know, it could be like a whole big banquet. I mean, I could definitely see something big coming out of it. I mean, I think, you know, based on the reaction of people wanting to watch the movie, when I've been with people seeing the trailer, you know, any physical event for it would definitely be a very good physical event.
Yeah, I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Definitely. And then what's your next goal? Like, have you been creative during these times? And then, like, what do you plan to do when we're going back to a sense of normalcy?
Are you talking about with this film, or
no, with you? Like, what's next for you?
Well, I produce TV as like a day job. So we're luckily filming right now. I do a lot of stuff for Comedy Central and the Food Network, so we're luckily able to film. So I'm back on some shows for those networks right now. And I'm also, you know, I've been developing an episodic series with these same characters, because I think there's still a lot more to this world and these characters, and there's such amazing people that I want to. I want to sell an episodic series based around these people.
So that'd be cool, like a little docu-series.
Yeah, basically yeah, you know, like 6, 8, you know, part series following them, following their world, following their lives, because there's a lot of stories. There's a lot that I had to leave out in order to fit into, you know, an hour and a half film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're right. There's just a lot of characters there that you're wondering, oh, you know, besides where are they now, but it's more like, what is their story? Like, you know, how they get there.
There's so much there, and there's interesting, you know, religious aspects. There's a lot of change politically in Cuba. You know, it's a really interesting world to explore.
Interesting time. Well, Chad, no, thank you very much for giving us your time today for the virtual Q&A. I'm sure the audience, again, loved the film. our back and forth right here and learned a lot. For those of you that are maybe watching this after the film already aired, know that it's actually still existing there. The film went live today, Tuesday, August 25th, and it's going to be out there till Saturday, August 29th for you to watch. And we're going to end this right now by showing a trailer for the film. So in case you haven't seen it now, it'll encourage you to go still have a chance to watch it. And again, thank you very much, Chad.
Thank you.
Dios mío, qué alegría ese color, mi madre.
Open the door! Cosas de Cuba. Chicos Cuba.